Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about all of the products that survived this summer with me. Today we have a list of 25 of the most viral products and all of the ones that I was really loving all throughout the summer. We have a little skincare and hair care as well. Oh, and a little bit of body care. So if you guys are interested in seeing all of my absolute favorite products from the summer, then let's get started. So to start off our list, I want to talk about one of my go-to skin prep products for the summer, and it is from Dalba, who is the sponsor of today's video. So the product I've been reaching for a lot this summer has been the Dalba First Spray Serum. If you're not familiar with this product, it is ranked #1 on Amazon and they have sold 50 million bottles globally. I have worked with Dalba in the past and I've raved about this spray serum so many times. So a little bit about this, the First Spray Serum uses Truffle, which is a blend of white truffle and vitamin E, and it's designed to deliver antioxidant protection and improve skin elasticity and reduce wrinkles. So as you guys know, I do have oily skin, and in the summer I like to use lighter layers of more hydrating products. And for a lot of us oily skin people, myself included, oily skin can actually be caused by dehydrated skin. And unlike other facial sprays, since this one is oil-based, it'll work to keep the skin balanced by preventing excess oil production, reducing any excess shine over time, and staying hydrated with less products on the skin. Interestingly enough, a lot of oily skin is just overcompensating for the dehydration. So unlike water-based facial mist sprays that can actually dehydrate the skin further once that water evaporates, oil-based mists like Dalba blend together for that golden ratio of oil to serum, which can ensure hydration stays put on the skin and glows 24/7. So my favorite way to use this is after my skincare in place of my moisturizer. I'll just spritz this on to give my skin a hydrated base right before makeup, and this will give my makeup a good canvas to lay on top of. Another fun trick that you can do is actually to spritz this after foundation if you found you went a little overboard with application, especially if you tend to use more of a full coverage foundation or even a powder foundation. And like I talked about recently, I tend to pack on powders in the summer to make sure that my makeup lasts throughout the day. So that means powder blush, bronzer, and multiple setting powders. And to keep my makeup from looking overly powdery, I'll do a layer of this spray all over my face. And this is going to essentially melt everything together and make it look more seamless before setting it all in. And lastly, throughout the day when I'm touching up my makeup, I like to kind of dab any excess oil with a sponge, and then I'll reapply finishing powders where I need it. And to make sure that those areas don't look cakey, I'll do a light spritz of this to give myself like a little refresh throughout the day. This spray is so multitasking and versatile for really any time of the year, so I have been reaching for this a lot this summer. A vitamin C that I could not get enough of is actually this Goodal vitamin C serum. This is the dark spot care serum, and so many people have raved about this one, and I just recently started to use it the last couple of months, and I started to see results almost immediately. I feel like for me, what I saw the most was that my stubborn acne spots, like my dark spots caused by acne, and even my freckles started going away. I know that it was caused by this specifically because I was using the same vitamin C for I think over a year or so before switching to this one, and then I started seeing kind of more dramatic differences when I switched over. It has sort of this jelly texture, so it spreads really nice and evenly over the skin. You only need one pump for your entire face, and it doesn't leave kind of that plasticky film that some vitamin C's can leave. It definitely absorbs all the way through onto the skin, and then I can go over this with other serums. And another thing that really impressed me about this is that my healing breakouts clear up in almost like days. It used to be closer to like a week or more, sometimes if it was really bad, a few weeks up to a month. But with this, I feel like it cut that time in half, and all of those dark spots from recent breakouts just disappear. This one I don't have my bottle of, and I featured it in my empties video recently, but the Beauty of Joseon Aqua-Fit sunscreen. So this was a facial sunscreen that I absolutely loved. It's more of this thin gel cream texture, and and it was really moisturizing, and when I would use this, I could skip my moisturizer altogether. It doesn't have a white cast. I believe it is a chemical sunscreen though, so it wouldn't really necessarily have a white cast anyways, since that's more of a characteristic with physical sunscreens. And the reason I liked this one a lot was because it was the least greasy in my opinion from the Beauty of Joseon sunscreens that I have tried for the face. Because of that thinner gel cream texture, it was easy to spread all over the face, and then it would dry down and absorb really well, and I never had any issues with it pilling or anything like that. It was a really easy one to reach for, which is probably why I ran out of that one before any of my other facial sunscreens that I was using this summer. Another facial sunscreen that I have really been loving is this Verse Daily Sunscreen SPF 50. This one really reminds me of the Beauty of Joseon Moist Sun Serum. If you guys are familiar with that one comes in a pump as well, but it's going to be kind of like a silicone jelly texture. It's completely clear, which this one is as well. It is zero white cast because it is going to be a clear liquid, and there's like really no effort to blend it in. It is a bit slippery, and I will say that it's going to leave you looking very hydrated, and your skin is almost going to look wet for a while. I would say that it does tend to absorb in, and it doesn't look as intense after maybe like 30 minutes to an hour or so, but for the most part, this one is going to leave you looking very dewy. So you're gonna want to like that finish. But with that being said, you can also use this underneath makeup, and it works really well. I don't notice that my makeup like slips and slides on top of it because it does tend to absorb a little bit into the skin. The body sunscreen that I have really been loving this summer, it's the Ultra Violette Vibrant Screen SPF 50. This says it's our sweat safe face and body sunscreen. So this one also is a pump, and I actually really like this pump mechanism. It is kind of more of an aggressive pump. So when you pump it out, all of the product comes out rather quickly. I know that's like very niche, but I like that because it doesn't like drip down the bottle. It's a thinner textured body sunscreen that doesn't leave that sunscreen feel, if you know what I mean. If you're familiar with like traditional sunscreens, you know, that you would get at the drugstore or something, when you kind of rub that into the skin, it leaves you with this like greasy, thick sunscreeny feel. This does not have that. This applies very similarly to a regular lotion. I don't find that this has any aggressive scents like most sunscreens. I don't really like when sunscreens have like a really intense coconut or pineapple scent to it. I'd rather it be more subtle and I can layer stuff on top of it. But other than that, it does rub in really quickly, just like the other facial sunscreens that we talked about. This is a chemical sunscreen as well, so that's going to play a role in how easy this is to rub into the body. But really easy one to use. I'm not as good about putting sunscreen on my body as I am with my face, but this just makes it effortless, and I can just easily apply this the same time I apply my facial sunscreen. We're moving into some makeup, starting with a primer. This is the Merit Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. This one definitely caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to love this one as much as I do. So this primer has peptides, spermidine, and barrier polysaccharides to support the appearance of skin elasticity, firmness, and tone. Those are all of the skin benefits to it, but really I just like this for the texture and kind of how it works with my makeup, because I do tend to use this as a primer versus a moisturizer. It has this light, almost oily cream texture to it, but it absorbs really well into the skin. It feels silky when you're applying it to the skin, and it absorbs enough to where I don't feel like I'm wearing a heavy, thick moisturizer before going in with my makeup. And like I said, I love to use this especially when I know that I'm going to be packing on the makeup that day, because it primes my face really well with a lot of hydration. I especially love using this before I film because I do go heavier on the makeup, so it translates better on camera. But even if I'm, you know, doing more mattifying products throughout the day, day. This one, I'll just put a little bit on the outside perimeters of my face, and then I'll go in with more like oil controlling products towards the center of my face, and I find that that combination works really well. I also find that even though this is really hydrating, this does not break me out or irritate my skin. If anything, my skin feels better after I put this on top of it. My skin tint of the summer, the winner of my skin tint video previously, is the Makeup Forever skin tint. This officially is called the Super Boost skin tint, and I have it in the shade number 6. My little sticker thing came off. That's like my biggest con about this, but other than that, this product is perfect for me. It is the easiest skin tint to just throw on for reliability. It's something that I know is going to look good every time I wear it. The color was pretty much perfect for me throughout the summer. I would say that towards the beginning, when I wasn't as tan, it was slightly warmer, but it never looked orange, and it was never a really intense like contrast or difference with my neck and my chest. It is going to be more on the light medium side of things, and you can build it up. So when you have it where it's more of that light coverage, there's definitely some flex with the shade. And with that being said, even though this skin tint can give you more coverage, it still feels really, really lightweight and kind of jelly on the skin. And I was able to use minimal concealer whenever I would wear this because it would cover up most of the things that I wanted covered up, like my freckles and my acne scarring and stuff like that. Also, I really love the packaging. Other than that like shade thing, that shade sticker, this is really easy to travel with. It's easy to just like chuck into a makeup bag, and it's really easy to store as well. You can push down on the top here to dispense the product from the little nozzle, but you can also squeeze the entire bottle. It is flexy. The Tower 28 Swipe Concealer, this one is in the shade NoHo. This caught me by surprise because I actually got this sent to me in PR maybe, I want to say 2 years ago, in 2 different shades, and I liked it, but I was just never reaching for them because I was always having to mix it. But for some reason, at some point this summer, I decided to pull it out of my drawers and kind of play with them and test them, and I was like, wait, I really like this formula. It works so well on my skin now, and I liked it so much that I went and bought my actual shade, the perfect shade for me, which is NoHo. People would rave about this all the time. Something switched in me and my makeup preferences, I guess, and I cannot get enough of this concealer. I've been enjoying this more so as an all over foundation, so I'll do a couple swipes on my face and then I'll cover my entire face with it and completely skip any skin tint or foundation. And since it's water based, it blends out seamlessly and it feels, again, really, really lightweight on the face. I do equally enjoy this as just a regular concealer, but I think the reason why it stands out so much for me is because it works just as flawlessly as a foundation as it does a concealer. So not all concealers are made the same. Some of them can do that. Some of them really are just better for spot concealing. But when I was feeling lazy, or again, I was wanting something that was kind of like foolproof whenever I wore it, maybe I didn't want to use as many products that day, I would reach for this and it worked so well for me. Also, it doesn't irritate the skin. Tower 28 does use skin-friendly ingredients and it never broke me out. I love Tower 28 specifically for that since I am acne prone. The LYS bronzing powder, are we surprised? I don't think so. I have this one in the shade Harmony and I won't shut up about this. I don't think I ever will shut up about this, and the reason why is because this is the perfect bronzing tone for my complexion. I don't think I have ever come across a bronzer that has worked so well on my complexion where it just warms up the skin but it doesn't look like I'm wearing an obvious heavy bronzer, if that makes sense. I think that the tone as well as the depth is perfect for me right now. It is more on the neutral side, but it's still going to be a medium brown shade. There's really no orange to it and there's like no red to it either. The formulation also, it just kind of blends like butter on the skin. When you swatch it, it doesn't feel buttery, but when you put it on a brush and you apply it to the skin, it blends in so seamlessly and it doesn't ever get patchy on my skin either, which is a really big issue for me when it comes to bronzers. And I feel like this one in particular is the perfect kind of bridge between my complexion and my blushes. As you can see, I am wearing it today, and it kind of just meshes this more pop of color blush on my face with the rest of my complexion, and it doesn't, at least in my opinion, it doesn't look so aggressive. Some eyeshadow products that actually live up to the hype in my opinion, these Danessa Myricks colorfix sticks. Everyone was excited about these. I was excited about these, clearly. I bought 2 from Sephora, and then I also bought the 2 Danessa Myricks website exclusive shades as well because they looked so beautiful. And these have just been super, super fun. Everything about this I enjoy, and I feel like there was a lot of thought put into it. I think having these magnetized where they're separate sticks, but they all magnet together, but you can also take them apart and store this separately if you wanted to. I love that, and the shades themselves are beautiful. I love that you get a metallic and a foil, so 2 different finishes here. And the ones that I chose, I will put swatches here for you guys. I feel like they are such easy pops of color for me to reach for and to kind of add to more of a boring look, for lack of a better term. I really am just a neutral eyeshadow girl. That's what I'm most comfortable with, but whenever I want a little pop of color, I'll do it more on like the inner corners of the eyes, and I'll kind of do like a glitter or a shimmer or something, and these have been exactly what I've wanted. There's not one that I'm like, oh, that one's just okay. Just the entire experience of using them, from the packaging to that cooling feeling on the eyes when you swipe them on, as well as how easy they are to blend, how you can blend them easily with your finger or with a brush. It just makes me look forward to using them. It makes makeup fun for me. This is obviously not new, but I have not been able to get enough of this powder. I've had one in the past. I've had a mini and I've had another shade, but only this year have I really been loyal to this powder, and this is the Kosas Cloud Set Finishing Powder. Or is it a finishing powder? I think it's just like a regular face powder. This is in the shade Comfy. So again, this is the first summer that I have used this powder almost exclusively as my finishing powder, other than testing out other finishing powders. And as I do, I was like playing around with different makeup techniques and like swapping my steps, my makeup steps and stuff, just playing around with it. And I had seen a video on TikTok, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, where someone baked with this first and then went on top with another baking powder or setting powder, and it just gave them such a seamless look. So I decided to try to set the under eyes with this first before going in with a loose powder, and it makes my under eye texture like disappear completely. That was actually one of the issues that I was dealing with for a while. I was trying to figure out why some powders were kind of emphasizing some texture I have right under my eyes, but this has completely smoothed out that area. I will take this on a puff and I'll just pat it onto the skin, and then I'll either bake with a loose powder or I'll dust on loose powder, and my under eyes and my face in general just looks incredibly smooth and creaseless, and it'll last and look like that throughout the day. It's kind of mind-boggling when I put this powder on because I can literally see real time my skin blurring and almost looking like a filter. Sometimes I'll take a selfie or like a photo and I'll be like, man, this almost looks like I have a filter on. I hope people don't think I put a filter on this photo because my skin just looks that smooth. And I love, love, love this in combination with another face powder, the L'Oreal blur-fection powder. This is just the translucent shade, and I was definitely really skeptical about this at first. It really, really reminded me of the Makeup by Mario loose powder, and I was not a big fan of that one. But I found that using this as a setting powder versus a baking powder was definitely the best option for me, because now it has become my go-to setting powder to dust onto the skin. It doesn't emphasize any texture on my skin. It doesn't get rid of any coverage from my foundation or my concealer. If you guys have ever experienced putting a powder on, specifically on like your under eyes maybe, or like where you have any dark spots that you want to cover, and you put a powder on top and it kind of makes those dark spots look grayish underneath the powder, this never does that. that for me, and that is a huge plus. It legitimately makes my skin look blurred, and it keeps my oils at bay for a really long time, which is really impressive because a lot of the times I have to bake my face if I want to make sure I don't have any oils like coming through too much. But if I use some of this and I like bake it onto my more oily spots, it really does keep my oils away so long. Much longer than any other setting powder that I've used just as a setting powder. Oh, this is kind of a bonus, and I only thought about this whenever I was doing my makeup for this video, but my Canmake creamy liner, the creamy touch liner in number 3, which is just a dark brown. I purchased this because I saw that it was going viral on TikTok, and my husband at the time was in Japan. So I was like, hey, can you buy me a couple of these? So he did, and I absolutely love this liner. It's really budge proof, transfer proof, non-smudging, and I love that it's so micro thin that you can go in with the tiniest little winged eyeliner and you have so much control, and then it'll stay put throughout the day. Specifically, I love this to tight line my eyes because it never transfers, and it's the best. It is the best. It's so gel and creamy, but once it dries down, it is there. So good. It comes in so many different colors. I only have the brown one, and I'm pretty happy with that one. I don't feel the need to get any other ones. That was just a little sneaky bonus. Let's talk about a couple of freckle products. So I told you guys that this summer I was really into faux freckles. I was playing around with different ones, and I actually found some that I absolutely love to kind of define my freckles and customize them and emphasize like areas that I want to show. So this one is from Tarte. It's the Go With the Faux, and I got the shade Deep. I saw like every other video on TikTok showing this, and I was so skeptical. Honestly, this brand I'm pretty skeptical about, but I did pick this one up because this intrigued me enough. Funny enough, I did see after purchasing this that there is a very similar like product to this on Amazon. I don't know how that one works, but this one is really, really good. I love this mechanism. I think that it is one of the better mechanisms when it comes to freckle pens. The reason why is because it does have these 5 prongs on them, and they are quite stiff. Like you really have to push them in order to get them to move. I thought it was kind of gimmicky at first, but it actually gives me the perfect amount of control for freckles. So there is a sponge with the liquid right there, and essentially what you do is you put this in here and you stamp it down, and then you put it on your face and you blend it out with your fingers. I love that the prongs are not flimsy. It is the right amount of liquid for each prong as well. I don't know if you guys have experienced this as well, but sometimes with freckle products, if you dot it on, sometimes you'll just get an excessive amount of product, but I've never had that issue with this one, and I think it's because of that more precise applicator. They have light, medium, and deep shades, and I think the different shades just allow for choosing the most natural shade for yourself. I think I could have gone with the medium shade as well, but the deep one I really like because when I dot this onto my face, I'll just go in and blend with my finger anyway, so it does end up being a bit lighter. And the best thing about this is that it's fast to use. Because of those 5 prongs, you can kind of dot and then tap, and I mean that's 10-15 freckles in the time that it would take me to do 3 with another product. So it's really good. I'm really enjoying this, and you don't always have to use all 5 prongs. Sometimes I'll kind of put it on its side to just use 1 or 2 of them. The second freckle pen that I have really been liking is this Marylia Scott Cosmetics water resistant faux freckle in the light dark shade. So this one is actually the one that someone on Love Island was using, which is one of the reasons why I was so into freckle pens this year or this summer. But again, I really like the applicator on this one. It is going to be a longer applicator, but it still has a lot of stiffness to it. So it's not like a brush tip where it can splay out and kind of ruin the shape of your freckle. That is what makes this one stand out for me the most. And also this one is very pigmented, but there's a lot of time for you to dot this on and then blend it out before it starts looking like just a dot on your face essentially. I also like that the tip of this is very, very small, so you can really control how big the freckles are. And at least my natural freckles, they are quite small, so it's more natural on my face in my opinion. But you can also kind of build up the product on the tip and make them a little bit bigger, so you can customize with this one more than you can with the Tarte one. I will say that I don't think that this is waterproof though, because there have been multiple times when I've used this and I'll kind of like rub at my face and it'll just like disappear. But it is quite long lasting if I'm not touching my face or anything like that. And specifically, I notice that when I'm already really oily and I touch my face. All right, our first blush. So I have been testing out a ton of blushes. Obviously, there have been a lot of launches for blushes recently. So for me, these blushes are the ones that I consistently reach for and I kind of go back to when I just want something that I know is going to look good. And the reason why I preface with that is because this one is rather new, but I cannot get enough of this formula. So this is the Ilia Soft Focus Blurring Blush, specifically the shade Breathless. I love this blush. It is so beautiful on the skin. I love the sheen. It has this like pearlescent finish to it and it's very sheer. You kind of like have to build it up onto your brush, but I find that that makes it even easier to use. If you are someone that is intimidated with very pigmented blushes, then a formula like this I think would be a lot easier for you to work with because you have more wiggle room to be able to like build it up to a more pigmented blush versus starting off really pigmented and having to blend that out. And I love it for its dependability. Like I said, I know that this shade is going to look good. It goes really well with like different eyeshadow looks. It doesn't compete at all. It makes the skin look healthy and natural and radiant, and I love it. I have two other shades as well, the shade Pulse and the shade Wonder. Those are both really beautiful as well. The other blush that I have not been able to put down is another Kosas product. This is their Blushes Life blush, but this is part of their extension. They came out with, I believe it was three more shades recently, and this is in the shade Wavelength, and in the pan it looks really scary, and it definitely is a pop of color, but this pop of color is still something that works so well on my complexion. I can't really explain it. I think that this one brings out the warmth in my skin tone, which I've been really enjoying. And the baked formula for this is really easy to work with. Naturally, baked blushes are easier to work with because they're not going to give you so much pigment output. But I will say that the Kosas ones, in my opinion, can be extremely pigmented, and I do think that this one is quite pigmented, but because of that finish, because of the baked formula to it, it really blends into the skin effortlessly. My favorite brush to use with this is the Makeup by Mario F4 brush. Either side, I think I use the bigger side usually because it'll pack the product on, but then I can kind of swipe at it to blend it in, and it always looks so good. I love this for whenever I want something a little brighter on the cheeks. My go-to mascara for this summer has definitely been the Kulfi Buddy Mascara. I've talked about this time and time again. You guys know this is a tubing mascara and it's smudge proof and flake proof, and it holds my curl with the help of an Asian mascara, specifically the Hair and Make Long and Curl Advanced Film Mascara. That one I use kind of as a primer, and then I will let that completely dry before going in with this mascara. And I love it because sometimes the Hair and Make one, even though it holds my curl like no other, in really humid climates, or if I'm not baking under my eyes, I can kind of see a little bit of smudging underneath the eyes. But if I use this, it'll tube my lashes so that the product can't smudge underneath, and I never have any flaking either. Because I do layer the mascaras though, I do tend to go in with my usual makeup remover to make sure that the mascara underneath this comes off as well. But typically with a tubing mascara, you can just go in with warm water and kind of just like swipe it away and it should just go away away pretty easily, and it gives you a lot of volume, a lot of length as well. You do have to be a little bit careful with the tip of this because it does have a ball tip on the end and it'll collect a little bit of extra product there. So it can get a little bit clumpy, but as long as you kind of swipe it away, like any excess off of the brush, then you're pretty much good to go. And I also find with a lot of tubing mascaras, they mainly focus on length. So being able to see that this one gives good volume is really impressive. The Violette FR Lip Nectar in Rose de Mauve, I mean, I can't say enough good things about this one. It is the perfect nude lip stain for the lips. If you have a complexion similar to mine, it's not going to be something that deepens up and darkens into like more of a red or a pink. It really does stay more in this nude lip color area. The color by itself is really just chef's kiss for me. You can see I have used a good amount of this one already, but an added benefit to this one is it feels hydrating. With some lip stains, they can feel like they're kind of like sucking the hydration out of your lips. Okay, let me take that back. Not really like drying out the lips, but they're not adding any hydration. This one does feel like it's actually hydrating. It kind of feels more like a lip oil, lip tint at the same time. And it has a blend of squalane and ceramides and hyaluronic acid within it for the moisture. And I think it also has shea butter, so it feels really, really moisturizing. And shea butter for me is something that I typically look for when it comes to a lip balm. So I think that's one of the reasons why this feels so comfortable on the lips, and the moisture actually lasts while you're wearing this. But overall, the thing that drew me to this was the color, and it definitely does not disappoint. The Eadem La Chou Chou lip balm in the shade Guava Fresca. So I was trying to get my hands on this for the longest time, you guys. It was out of stock for so long, and then I would get a notification on Sephora saying like it's in stock, and when I would click on it, it was out of stock. When I finally was able to get this, I was so excited. I cannot explain to you guys how excited I was. And immediately when I got it, I put it on and I was like, it's the perfect warm pink. I don't usually like pinks when it comes to lip colors. I don't gravitate towards them. If anything, they're going to be more of a sheer pink. And if you're familiar with the La Chou Chou lip balms, they are more on the sheer light opacity side of things, and it is the perfect warm pink. And the formula itself, you guys know I really love these lip balms. I find that they are a thick enough lip balm for daily wear as well as night. I do have the clear one that I'll reapply whenever I need a little bit of extra hydration, and it gives you that thick moisture feel without your lips feeling, I don't know if people can relate to this, but you know when you go into the pool and then your fingers get raisiny, that feeling, but on your lips. Like it's not overly moisturized, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense? To me, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, same texture, same formula, perfectly sheer so it doesn't look out of place if I'm wearing makeup or not wearing makeup. And it's also buildable, so you can build up the color to wear it as like your sole lip color as well. It does have a little bit of a guava scent to it. I'm not a fan of the scent, but I'm also not deterred by it. Like it doesn't bother me, but it's like I'm not grabbing this and I'm going, oh, that smells so good. We're moving on now to some hair care, and I've talked about these in a video recently, but the Garnier Fructis Hair Filler Strength Repair Shampoo and Conditioner. I have been testing out a lot of different shampoos and conditioners, drugstore and high-end alike, but these are just kind of my fail-proof go-tos. It's so good. It's so good. And I'm so excited to have found this. This has become me and my husband's favorite shampoo and conditioner. And I feel like these are the very best shampoo and conditioners to cleanse my hair and actually keep it clean. I do use like leave-in products in my hair. I do use styling products in my hair. But after I'm done with all that and I need to wash my hair, I want something that actually feels cleansing. And this feels very, very cleansing. And even when I restyle my hair and I use all the products, my hair will not feel weighed down. Like my scalp will stay feeling clean longer than other products. Also, an added plus is the fragrance. So it does smell like a subtle green apple, but it's not like a fruity kid smell. It just smells very clean and bright, and I love it. It's slightly sweet. You get little wafts of it here and there throughout the day. And whenever I wash my hair, it just feels lightweight, and I can see like my roots actually have some volume because it's that clean. The Amika Perk Up Plus dry shampoo, specifically the Perk Up Plus, they have the original, this one, and then I think like an extended version that's supposed to be even more oil absorbing. I have gone through, I think, 2.5 because I've gone through travel size. But you guys know I have been loyal to my Living Proof Advanced Clean Dry Shampoo for years, but I finally decided to try this one out because I remembered liking the original and I was hearing good things about this one. So I went ahead and picked it up and I really, really like it. It smells super fresh. Very yummy. I think it's the original scent. It gives the right amount of oil absorption in the hair where I don't have any excess like white cast to it, but also I don't have any oil that I have to continue to spray this on. It doesn't make my hair chalky or feel like I have dry shampoo in it. You really can work this into your scalp and like work it out so it feels very clean as you can with a dry shampoo. I know that for some people they just cannot stand the feeling of dry shampoo, but I will say that this one, as well as the Living Proof Advanced Clean Dry Shampoo, the one in the silver bottle, these two are the ones that I feel less like a dry shampoo versus others. And also something to note is this doesn't break out my scalp. I was playing around with other dry shampoos that I had in my collection just to give myself a refresher to see if like I like those dry shampoos, and a lot of them actually gave me like bumps on my scalp, like specifically here and like in my hairline and stuff, because they were just too powdery, too heavy. This one never does that on me. So I wash my hair at night, and I find that this one is best applied 2 days after washing, and then I'll just keep applying this if I go more days without washing. If you start to see a little bit of oil, just spritz a little bit of this on there and it works perfect. A newer addition, but also another one that I started testing out and I kind of gravitate towards whenever I want to ensure that I have a really good hair day, the Amika Frizz-me-not Hydrating Anti-Frizz Treatment. I believe this is new to their entire line, but I have really been liking this. So when it comes to frizz treatments, I find that they can feel a bit heavy and weigh down my hair, but this one feels like a lightweight leave-in conditioner, and I really, really like the effect of this. First off, I like the lock mechanism on it. I enjoy this little detail. I love when hair products have little details like that. It smells really good, slightly sweet, slightly bright. And the first time I used this, with just one use, I noticed that my hair actually felt noticeably smoother and it looked more sleek. And even my husband commented on it. He was like, wow, your hair looks really, really nice. This is heat activated though, and I typically do blow dry my hair at night anyways, and it is a heat protectant as well, and it doesn't leave like a film on your hair. Like your hair still can move and it doesn't feel heavy and weighed down. I have it right now. I washed my hair last night and I always love the effect. And you guys always comment on how like nice my hair looks, and specifically when I use this. A body butter that I've been liking, which is surprising because in the summertime I'm typically like not into body butters, but this one from Josie Maran is really good. It's the Whipped Argan Oil Body Butter, and this is in the Vanilla Vibe scent. And the reason I bought this was because it smells like my baby niece. I don't know how, but it smells like a baby. It smells like a baby, but like vanilla at the same time, and I love it. But aside from the scent, I really like this as a nighttime body butter. I like that it has more of that thick texture and how it's slightly oily whenever you rub it in. Like it has that argan oil in it, so it does blend out a little bit like a hybrid of a body butter and an oil. I hate when a body butter is so thick that you have to like rub and rub and rub to get it to absorb into the skin. This one, because it has that oil in it, really does blend in seamlessly, and it makes my skin feel super soft the next day. And the scent does linger a little bit. It does kind of dissipate. Like the next morning when I wake up, it's a very, very faint scent, if anything. And I really like this to layer fragrances. So whenever you put a fragrance on top of a body lotion, it helps with the longevity. And I feel like doing that kind of helps the longevity of my fragrance as well as the scent of this. So it's really nice because it has slightly more of a sweet scent to it. So if I want to bring out sweetness from a fragrance, then I'll use this. So that actually transitions us into our fragrance favorites for the summer. I feel like I have tested so many fragrances for the summer. There have been so many releases and it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but I've been loving it. I have been loving so many fragrances, but these two specifically have been my go-tos. So this is newer, but I feel like I've used this every day, multiple times a day so far. So this is the Salt and Stone Saffron and Cedar. It smells like a gourmand that's a little bit muskier, and it still has that sweetness to it. So this has saffron, jasmine, cedar wood in it, and it smells, like I said, gourmand, but also a little earthy, a little clean, and a little sweet all at once. I heard people say that it's kind of like a Baccarat Rouge. I'm not a huge Baccarat Rouge person, but now I'm wondering if I am. I really like this because it's subtle enough for days that I can't take wearing a strong fragrance, but I want to smell really fresh and clean. You guys know that even though I have been testing out more fragrances, I would still consider myself quite sensitive to fragrances, especially strong ones. Like I will get an immediate headache, and if I spray a fragrance on and then I get into the car straight away, I'll get a headache no matter what. But this one is light enough to where it doesn't irritate me, it doesn't bother me or anything, and I like that I can spray it on my body, spray it on my clothes, or spray it in my hair and it'll still be like the same scent, but still very subtle, but I still get whiffs of it. They sent this to me and they sent me the body wash and some of the deodorants. I got this in all of them, the body wash, the deodorant, and the mist, because I liked it so much. I can't get enough. And it doesn't look like I use a lot, but this was completely full. And I feel like I've only had this for maybe a month or so, and I can't stop using it. I can't stop using it. Lastly, for this video in general, as well as for fragrances, Dead Cool's Mochi Milk. So I do have a full size now, but I'm showing you guys this one because this is the one that I have been using and I've been loving. I think this has to be one of my top fragrances, like ever. It's that good. So if you've never smelled Dead Cool, they have more of a layering vibe to them. Like they say that their fragrances are layerable, and I love the DNA of Dead Cool because it smells almost, the best way I can describe it is that it smells neutral. Like it's a little bit skin scent, a little musky, but not in like a manly way. It smells really wonderful and it has that DNA in it while having that sweetness to it as well. So for me, the rice milk in this smells really nostalgic. I love rice notes in my fragrances. It just smells so yummy. And then the marshmallow and vanilla are noticeable, but they kind of like blend in with the Dead Cool base and the rice, so it's not too lactonic or sickly sweet. There are some vanillas that are just a little bit too milky for me, but this one stays smelling really bright and a little bit more grounded in my opinion. And I also love this as a layering fragrance, which again, Dead Cool does advertise their fragrances to be layerable. Sometimes I'll layer it with something that I find to be too heavy or too warm, and if I layer it with this, the sweetness will like come out and it'll just balance everything together. My fragrance preferences change from day to day just depending on how I'm feeling, but honestly these two I've been loving them, and I feel like they're so versatile and they're multitasking within my routines, and they have been front and center for me. Okay guys, so those have been my absolute favorite products throughout the summer. These are the things that have stood the test of time for me, that I have been reaching for time and time again, even through testing a bunch of new releases. A lot of these I feel like did go quite viral, but they're the ones that I truly feel like are definitely worth the hype. I would absolutely love to know in the comments down below which products you have been absolutely loving throughout the summertime. Thank you again to Dalba for sponsoring this video for us today, as well as thank you to you guys for all of your support. I truly would not be here if it was not for you guys and your support. And of course, if you guys haven't already subscribed, I would say please consider subscribing if you enjoy my content. But until next time, you guys, I'm gonna leave a video right here that YouTube actually thinks that you'll be interested in based on what you've been watching recently. And of course, as always, please take care of yourselves and I will see you very soon. Bye.